Well, Tim, first of all, thanks for meeting with us on a Saturday. I know you had your gallery open from 9 to 3 today, so I figured I'd show up right at the last second.
All right, that's perfect.
But thanks for having us. This is Exploring the Ozarks for everybody that watches us, and we're here today with Tim Ernst, the one and only Tim Ernst, I should say. So thank you so much for having us. And what we want to do is just do a little check-in today and just see what Tim Ernst is up to. So we're here at his gallery, which has, Tim, how many pieces do you have here?
Oh, I've got typically 55 or 60 different canvases on the wall like these over here. And then I also have a series of what we call black matte prints. So I got another 60 or 70 of those available.
I was just had my eyeball on those because we're going to get one for the studio.
Oh,
so
great.
We'll get one on the way out of here. But so tell people where they can find this place, first of all, because it's not just off of the regular beaten path. So, coming from Jasper is where we came from. It was probably only 12 minutes from Jasper. So you're not that far away. So tell us a little bit how to get here. What's your easiest way?
Well, I tell people that we're located about halfway between Jasper and Ponca, down here in Newton County, the Buffalo River area. And we're kind of in the greater Low Gap, Mount Sherman metroplex up here. There's maybe 100 people that live along the highway here. We're a mile off the highway, so we don't have a storefront.
Right.
And folks have to get directions of how to get here. We don't have an address that works.
Right, I noticed that. So I noticed the GPS coordinates for all of you out there. The GPS coordinates are the best way to do it. And I also noticed with Google Maps, not iPhone Maps or whatever I have. So that was a big deal for Jake too, because he's never been down in these parts before. So, but I kind of know my way around a little bit, thank goodness. So I took from Harrison, basically took Highway 7 almost all the way here, pretty much to Highway 20. Am I right?
Right, Highway 7 down to Jasper, and then you turn on Highway 74 that goes to Ponca.
Perfect.
Folks that come down and float the Buffalo are pretty familiar with those
Yeah.
roads probably.
A lot of boats out right now because I think we just had, what'd you guys have, about an inch and a half of rain down here?
Something like that, yeah,
So it's
plus
perfect.
a couple inches yesterday. So we've
Yeah.
got lots of great waterfalls right now.
Right, which is one of my favorite books was the Arkansas Waterfall book, or Buffalo River Waterfall book, and I didn't bring that one. I did bring our Arkansas guidebook. That's the little thicker one. So I've got a few more we need to check off our list. So I brought my family down to do some camping up at that Shady Oaks campground up there, past Jasper. But hopefully I can get your signature on it before I leave. But
Sure.
so tell us a little bit about. You're not just an artist that has a gallery full of prints that someone else either put together for you or even took the pictures. So this is all of your collective works. I'm sure you're probably putting more out all the time, but you actually make everything from the frame on up. Tell us about your process back here behind this wall.
Well, that's true. I started making canvas prints 15 or 16 years ago now when they, when they produced a canvas that was able to reproduce color photographs accurately, and also were very stable as far as fading. These canvas prints now, 7,500 years or longer without ever fading. They don't need glass on them. And older canvas, you just couldn't get the brilliant colors that we can do now.
And keep it to stay there.
And keep it,
Yeah.
yes, keep it very stable. But there's really no secret to it. It is just simply printing on a roll of canvas instead of a roll of photographic paper. And then once that's done, I build a frame, whatever size it needs to be, and then I use kind of a special, kind of secret process that someone taught me how to do the stretching, which these are all very tight. They're actually stretched drum tight.
Yeah.
And for canvas photograph material, it's very, very important that it's real tight.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really pretty easy. It it takes about 30 minutes to do one of these, and it should be perfect and should stay that way for as long as everybody that's alive is alive.
That's right. Well, I noticed you've even got your big color printer in the back, and you've got a whole workshop. We'll get some side B-roll, we call that, of the back area, because it's kind of cool that you were just printing some off just now as I came in to be able to ship to somebody else. So so you start all this, you make this stuff, but people don't have to come into this gallery, am I right? People can buy stuff online and you can ship it to them. So you just told me a story about how much these sometimes can cost to ship. So it probably is better just to come in person and get it. But where can people find you online if they want to check out your gallery online and get something shipped to them?
Well, they can go to our webpage, which is timernst.com, And from there are links to the gallery information page and stuff like that. So,
Very good.
TimErnst.com.
And they can just go through all these. You've got them on there that they can just pick and choose what they want.
Yeah, we actually have two different web pages, and there's a link on our main web page that takes you to kind of our sister web page that is nothing but online galleries.
Okay.
And there are literally thousands of photographs on there. And in fact, just this week, we have been in the process of converting almost all of the color photographs that I've been doing for the last almost 50 years to black and white.
Wow.
And so we've got, for almost everything, we have a color gallery of everything that's in all the picture books, for instance.
Wow.
And we also have a black and white gallery. And so they can order prints, regular photographic prints or canvas prints direct from there.
Wow.
But in order to see them in person, they need to come to the gallery here, just like you've done today. And that's the best way to really judge what, and see them up
Oh, it's so hard to probably choose anything online because if I were here, I'd be here for hours trying to figure out which one I wanted. And I didn't win the lottery, so I can't get every one of them yet. But you do have some on sale I'm probably going to look at before I leave. But,
Everything is always on sale.
okay. Good. Everything's always on sale. Well, thank you again for having us out here so much. We didn't have you in the studio for your interview, so I'm glad to be able to come down and meet you in person. But I know they called me a fanboy last time just for having you on the show. So I'm kind of starstruck having this opportunity, Tim. I know I've got pretty much every book. I'm probably going to walk out of here with a couple books too that I don't have. But how many books do you have at this point that you've got for sale as well?
I think we've got 17 or 18 in print right now.
Wow. How many are you working on then?
Actually, I'm retired from doing new picture books.
Okay.
I'm still taking pictures.
Okay.
But we continue to update our guidebooks and working on a couple more of those that I'm an official geezer now, but I'm still working 6 or 7 days a week. And there's a couple of those books that I have to do, new books, before I can officially retire.
Right.
Which, as lazy as I'm getting, I'm still going to be in the business for quite a few years yet. So.
Oh, I'm sure you're not going anywhere at this point because I know if you're anything like me, which I'm sure you are, you find a lot of solace out in nature. You find that that's where you kind of find yourself. John Muir is one of the people I follow pretty closely, and his quotes about going to the wild to lose your soul is probably one of the best ways to go out in nature and find yourself. So I'm sure you have found yourself a long time ago with as many miles as you've walked. But just so everybody kind of knows, how many miles do you think you've walked amongst 17, 18 books and more on the way? How many miles have you logged, do you think?
Oh, I think that's probably impossible to figure out. I've worn out probably 20 or 25 pairs of boots. Let's put it that way.
That says a lot. Yeah.
Although I'm hard on boots.
I'm sure. Well, you go a lot of places, and thank you for sharing everything with us as fans and as hopefully clients soon after we post this. But again, thank you so much for exploring the Ozarks down here, Tim.
Well, it's great to have Exploring the Ozarks here, and thank you guys so much for what you do to help share the beauty of the Ozarks. And I'm going to do a quote from Ansel Adams, my longtime hero. And he always said that when questioned by people, Ansel, there are no people in your photographs. Why is that? He said, oh, no, that's not quite correct. There are always two people in each photograph, the photographer and the viewer.
Oh, wow.
So without people to look at and enjoy and appreciate the great beauty that we have here in the Ozarks, I wouldn't have a job. So thank you all for promoting it and for those who enjoy looking at it.
Absolutely. That's one of the coolest quotes I think I've ever heard, and I didn't know that one about Ansel, actually. Also another amazing photographer, and honestly, was he probably an influence on you?
Oh, absolutely. Always has been. And actually, speaking of Ansel Adams, he was mostly known as a black and white photographer.
Yeah.
Probably the best landscape photographer ever. And I can't see in black and white, and all of my stuff is color.
Right.
But the technology these days is such that we can take color photographs and convert them to black and white, and they look pretty darn good. I can't walk out and take a picture as a black and white, but they convert very well. Ansel was a genius in what he did with it.
And that's all he had available really at the time was black and white. Am I right?
Right.
Especially being that far out at some of these places he traveled for this.
Yeah, that's right.
But it didn't really seem like he got that popular, let's say, until maybe the late 80s, 90s era. It almost seems like I started seeing them on walls at, college dorm rooms or in, people's houses, things like that. So it was great to see a resurgence of that. And I think a lot of people were inspired by that. But what you do obviously is different, but just this piece right here, I mean, you could get lost in that piece. And that's probably the best part about your photography is it's immersive and you feel like you are attached to the buffalo a little bit more when you're out here. Most of this is from the buffalo. Am I correct? Out of
Yes.
these 55, 60 pieces. Even the bears right over here on the wall that we'll get some pictures of as well. But, so how long have you lived down on the buffalo?
I've lived in Newton County since 1997, last century.
Okay.
Yep. I
So
was
still part of
actually
the Ozarks.
conceived in Springfield,
Okay.
but shortly after that, my parents moved to Fayetteville, and that's where I was born.
Great town. So were you always out in nature? Were you always out hiking? I mean, doing everything you
Yeah,
could?
I kind of grew up at the outskirts of Fayetteville, and I was the youngest of 4 kids, and by then they just said, especially in the summertime, go out, run around. We're
Right.
surrounded by forest,
Right.
and that's what I was naturally drawn to.
Right.
Grew
Back
up-
when you could go out in the forest by yourself and have a good old
Exactly.
time and know where you were and get back
You
home.
could, yeah, we could stay out all day back then. Now they'd probably arrest my parents.
Yeah, they probably would. And, and that's the glory of what you do, though, because now you've got so many families that they pick up a book or they see it online. I know I bought my first copies online, of course, because that's about the only place besides I think I did find them at Bass Pro. I mean, but now that my kids have gotten older, like I was telling you earlier, they probably have more miles on their boots than most people. And a lot of it is because of you. And so I would just like to say thanks again just for that, because back when my kids were babies even, I would put them in a backpack and I'd get out my Tim Ernst book out of the other side of the backpack and I would rifle through it and figure out where I was on a trail or whatnot. But so as far as where your travels take you, you were getting ready to go to Colorado, am I right?
Mhm.
You spend a lot of time in Colorado as
I do,
well.
yes.
Do you plan on doing any type of guidebooks for Colorado, or is that something that's kind of off the plate because it's such a big place?
To me, a successful guidebook is written by somebody who lives it. And I mean, I'd love to go to Colorado and do a guidebook there, but it wouldn't be nearly as good as if someone who's a Colorado resident.
Right, you'd almost have to move there
Could do.
again,
That's right.
like you did here. Well,
That's right.
I know there's not a lot of people that are moving here to do what you do, but again, we'll keep this short, but thank you again, Tim, so much. And once again, tell everybody where they can find you online, and I'm sure Facebook can kind of direct you. We share a lot of your stuff, but tell them exactly where they can find you online again. We'll make
Well,
sure everybody
our
knows.
main webpage is just simply my name, timernst.com, and there are links to all of our other locations.
There you go, timernst.com, guys. Everywhere you go, you take Tim with you.
You can also find our guidebooks in a lot of places, like in Springfield, the outdoor stores there, and here in Newton County, Arkansas, as an example, there's probably 10 or 12 stores that carry the books. We've got a couple hundred retail outlets
Mm-hmm.
around the Ozarks, and a lot of times they're like in a gift shop. There's a Bubba's Buffalo River store down on the square in Jasper. It's got almost everything that we publish.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so Park Visitor Centers and Barnes and Noble
Yeah.
in Springfield, I'm sure has them. So.
Oh, yeah. And my first book that I bought in person was that Dynamic Earth back then.
Dynamic
It was
Earth,
open
that's
up.
right, yeah.
And I wish it was still there because that was one of my
Illinois.
favorite places to be. But I've-
Ozark Adventures.
yeah, Ozark Adventures is always a good place to go. Bass Pro, I swear Bass Pro had one maybe or something like that. I
They
can't
may
remember.
have, yeah.
That's where I also get my Missouri Paddlers guidebooks is up at Bass Pro. I wish they would carry more of your stuff because we do want to support you and we hope the best for you. And we know that what you're doing is something that nobody else is doing. So we're just happy that you're a part of the show and a friend of the show. And thanks again for having us down.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Great to have you guys. Thanks a
Absolutely.
lot.
Thank you, Tim.
You bet.
All right.